Okay, EOC review number 1. So, the biggest thing that I can tell you guys to do on number 1 is, it doesn't like me. Hold on. I don't want that. Is to distribute. Kids are not distributing appropriate here. So negative 8p minus 16 minus p minus 4 is equal to negative 9p minus 45 plus 25. Negative 9p minus 20 is equal to negative 9p minus 20. They're the same, aren't they? The left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. The key to success on this is for you guys to acknowledge as fast as you possibly can that the left-hand side is exactly the right-hand side. Those cancel out. Negative 20 equals negative 20. You didn't have to show that, but this is a true statement, always and forever, which leads you to believe what is the solution set? All real numbers. Do we understand that problem? Okay. Number 2, same exact concept. The biggest mistake is you guys don't like to multiply. You are worse at multiplying than combining like terms. But you all forget to combine like terms and distribute before you combine like terms, which in turn causes mistakes and errors. So this is a problem where you have to understand the brackets stay and you are distributing the negative here. And distributing the 2 over there. Combine like terms, because if you distribute there, you have 4 opportunities for mistakes. Because there are 4 terms inside that bracket. If you combine like terms and get negative 2w minus 3 is equal to 2w plus 6, now when you distribute, you only have to distribute 2 terms to give you negative 4w minus 12 is equal to 2w plus 6. Do we all understand this problem, yes or no? Bringing that over, negative 6w is equal to, bring that over, 18, w is equal to negative 3. Yes? Do we all understand that, yes or no? Okay. I screwed up somewhere. What did I do? Negative 4. I put negative 12. No one saw me. It is a definite issue. This is supposed to be negative 6. And then add the 6 over, that's 12. And then that's going to be negative 2. Totally a witchy back there. Sorry. Okay, now, that is number 2. Number 3. 3 and 4 are very much the same. If you look at my bulletin board over there, it is the green poster and the red poster, beside Kylie and Zane, respectively. Okay? Now, what I need your brain to get is that if you put this over 1, the numerator and the denominator, you need to put on missing exponents and distribute that appropriately. So that's 4 squared n cubed times 8 to the negative 3 n to the 12 all over combining exponents there n to the negative 6. Do we all see that? This gives me n to the 5th plus 12 is going to give me n to the 17th over n to the negative 6. Now deal with these. 4 squared is going to be 16. 8 to the negative 3 goes to the bottom to give you 8 cubed. 8 cubed is the same thing as 8 times 64. This turns out to be a 2. That gives me a 32. To give you, this goes up top, the exponent, to give you n to the 23 over 32. It's just understanding the exponents and how they work. Yes? We good? Number 4 is exactly the same way. I'm not going to do that. Number 5 is solved by elimination. What does elimination mean? You need to check to see if the coefficients of the variables on the x's and the coefficients of the variables of the y are opposite numbers. 1x and 1x, they're not opposite. 1y and negative 1y, they are opposite. Add straight down. 2x is equal to 2, so x is equal to 1. So once I find out x, how do I find y? Plug and chug back in. X plus y is equal to negative 8, so 1 plus y is equal to negative 8. Y is equal to negative 9. So my ordered pair is going to be 1, -9. Do we understand that, yes or no? Now, if we look at number 6 is very similar to number 5, except for this time, my values are not the opposite ones. I have 2x and 5x. My least common multiple of my x's is going to be plus or minus 10. What is my least common multiple of my y's? Plus or minus 12. And if you recall, we said which one was smaller? 10. So we went ahead and said, okay, we're going to eliminate the x's. So I multiply this by 5, and I multiply this by -2. So that's 10x minus 20y is equal to a 90. Yes? 5 times. Did I do that right in my head? Anybody want to help me check out? I'm assuming it is. -10x minus 6y is equal to -12. Yes? Add straight down, those go away, and you have -26y is equal to, and this is going to give me 78. So y is going to be equal to -3? Yes. So then now that you found y, how do you find x? Plug it into one of the original problems to find that. Yes? Do we all understand that? Okay, I'm not going to waste my time on that. I am going to look at number 7, and this time I'm going to go ahead and multiply the top equation by 5. So that gives me a 20x minus 8y is equal to 10. Drop down the second equation, and those cancel out. Forgot to write the 40y. Those cancel out, and I have 0 is equal to -5. Is that a true or a false statement? It's a false statement. So since it's a false statement, there's no solution. It's going to be on the test. Okay? It'll be on the test, without a doubt. And that brings me to the next concept, which is exactly the same, still multiplying by 2. 8x minus 6y is equal to 10. Drop down the other one. Everything cancels out and you get 0 equals 0. What is that solution? Many solutions. Do we all understand the difference there, yes or no? Okay? Now, that brings us to number 9. Now, we talked about number 9 and number 10 before. Okay? We did this at the beginning of the year. When we did this at the beginning of the year, the very first thing we did is we said, okay, look at each of the denominators. Is x plus 2 factored completely, yes or no? It is. The denominator of the second one is not. That's x plus 2 times x plus 1. And the denominator of the third one is. So then we said, what is my LCD? And my LCD is x plus 2 times x plus 1. Which means immediately I told you to find domain restrictions. Remember whenever I told you to do domain restrictions? And I said that's your LCD, which is x plus 2 cannot be 0, and x plus 1 cannot be 0. Yes? So x could not be -2, and x could not be -1. If you got either one of those as your answer, you had to cross it off. Do you remember us doing that? So if we go ahead and multiply this entire thing by my LCD, the first term, what cancels out? The x plus 2's cancel out, and I'm left with 6 times an x plus a 1. Go to the second one, both of them cancel out. Go to the third one, and the x plus 1's cancel out, leaving the x plus 2. Do you remember that, yes or no? What you working on, Zane? No, not during math. Come on, put it away. 6x plus 6 minus 3x is equal to -5x minus 10. So this is a 3x plus, or I'm sorry, that's a 9x plus 6 is equal to a -5x minus 10. Nope, I had it right the first time, Yoder. 3x plus 6. So now what do we do? Add the 5x over, 8x, subtract the 6 over, -16, x is equal to -2. So what does that tell me? Is that legal? No, it's not legal. So what do we have to do? Tell me. What do we have to do? What's my answer? No solution. Why is there no solution? Because my domain restriction up there tells me it isn't one, so therefore I have to say it's no solution. Okay? That doesn't mean it's always going to be like that. Okay? But if you guys give me x equals -2, there is no partial credit on this test. It's all or nothing. Do we all understand that? So if you get everything right and you mathematically did this a beautiful way, but then you tell me that the answer is -2, you'll get the whole problem wrong. All because you didn't check for domain restriction. Okay? Number 10 is done exactly the same way. Number 11. Now, this is the problem about parallel and perpendicular lines. You guys were constantly asking me about parallel and perpendicular lines. That is the one spot where the majority of you messed up. Now, my heart breaks for you guys a little bit in that. But you also have to understand that you have got to be able to understand what you're doing on these. And you have to work smarter rather than harder. When I say that, I need you to look at this and say, okay, I want parallel lines and perpendicular lines. The parallel slope is going to be the same. The perpendicular slope is going to be the negative reciprocal. Based upon that information, what can I eliminate? I can eliminate the first option. Do we all understand that? Now I need to go to the second one and determine, is it letter B or is it letter C? All I have to do is find either the parallel line or the perpendicular line. Which line would be easier to find? I think perpendicular line would be easier, and the reason why perpendicular line would be easier because I don't have a fraction as a slope, do I? So all I have to do is find B. So y equals mx plus b. I'm going to use this and this point. This is x, this is y. So y is 10, m is -2. X is 16. So that's 10 is equal to -32 plus b. Add the 32 over, and 42 is equal to b. So which one is my b value 42 in? Letter B or letter C? Letter B. So this is going to be my answer, not that. Do we all understand that, yes or no? I didn't find both equations. I found one of them. I worked smarter rather than harder. Do we all understand that? Okay? Are we all good? Now, if I'm the one deciding the test, which I am, would I like problem 11 or 12 better? Number 11 was multiple choice. You could guess and figure out which one it was. You had a 50-50 chance once you narrowed it down, right? Number 12, there's no 50-50 chance. You have to understand it. You have to get exactly the right answer. So if you're a math teacher, which one would you choose? I'm going to use problem 12. So problem 12 would probably be on the test more than problem 11. Do we get that, yes or no? No, English right now. Okay, now, I need to go ahead and take this first equation and solve it for y. So y is going to be -2x over 5 plus 8/5. That's you solving for y. Now, what do I need out of that? I need the parallel slope. What is the parallel slope? The parallel slope is going to be -2/5 x. So I'm going to use the ordered pair that they gave me, which is 8, -6. So I'm going to use y is equal to mx plus b. Y is -6, m is -2/5, x is 8 plus b. I showed you multiple ways to do this. I said you could go ahead and use the calculator right away, or you can multiply everything by your LCD. It does not matter. I'm going to choose to deal with the fractions, and this is going to be -16 over 5 plus b, and -6 is -30 over 5. If I add this over, and that's going to give me -14 over 5 as my b value. So my parallel line is y equals -2/5 x minus 14/5. We already did a perpendicular line on the previous one, so I'm not going to do the perpendicular part here. Do we all understand the parallel and perpendicular concept, yes or Okay, now number 13 and 14, they're basically the same exact problem. The difference is you guys need to make sure that you are squaring both sides, but before you square it, you have to isolate the radical. Isolating the radical means that I'm going to simply take over the minus 2 square roots of x plus 28, making that positive. Do we all understand that? Now, if I do that, I'm going to square both sides to eliminate that. The biggest mistake that my students make is they do not square this 4. And you have to be able to square the 4. So that's going to give you an x plus a 4 is equal to a 4 times an x plus 28. X plus 4 quantity squared is x squared plus 8x plus 16 is equal to 4x plus 112. Bring everything over. That's going to be x squared plus 4x. Subtract that over, minus 96 is equal to 0. Factor this into two binomials, x and x, plus 12 minus 8. So x is equal to negative 12, and x is equal to positive 8. Now here's the problem. You have got to go over to your calculator and check for extraneous solutions. When you plug in the negative 12 in for x, notice how I'm plugging in the original problem and I'm putting negative 12 in for x, I get a false statement. But whenever I plug in the 8, I get a what? A true statement. If you do this whole problem and you put down negative 12 and 8 as your answer, you are going to be algebraically correct, but you are not going to get credit for the problem because numerically, x equals negative 12 is an extraneous solution. So the only answer you should have is 8. Do we all understand that, yes or no? Okay? That is how you're going to do 14 as well. That brings us to the next thing, which is going to be number 15. Number 15 is the increase, decreasing, and constant. We talked about this a ton. Okay? The biggest problem with this one right here is you have to be able to understand that the negative 10 by 10 is on your x values and the negative 50 by 50 is on your y values. Yes? Yay or nay? Okay? Now, with that being said, how do I do that? Well, you're going to look at this and say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's supposed to be 10 by 10. So what are they going by? Units of what? 2. So if your brain needs to see this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes? What is happening at 1, negative 1? Is that a max, a level, a max, a min, or neither? It's a max. What's happening at 5, negative 17? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 17 is right here. What is that happening? Neither. And then what about the last one of 9, negative 35? That's this point right here, and what is that going to be? That's going to be a minimum. The part that's going to get you is the increase, decreasing, and constant. Increase, decrease, constant. Now, if you recall, I made you guys actually put yourself on that, and I said roller coaster. And I made you read increase, decrease, and constant on your x values only. It's on your x values only. Super important that your brain understands that. So if this is on your x values only, at negative infinity, I'm going up the hill, and I'm stopping going up the hill at the value 1. Then at 1, I start to go down the hill all the way to the x value 9. But then at the 9 value, I turn around and I start to increase again, all the way to infinity. Do y'all understand that? So now whenever I come down here to answer this question, it says, which are the intervals? Are they increasing? It has to be letter A. Which of them decreasing? That's going to be letter D. And are there any constants? No. Do we all understand that? Okay, letter C. The biggest thing I can tell you is to graph this thing. So if you graph this thing, it's pretty easy. You want to find your y-intercept. the best way to tell you to do this is to find the y-intercept. That means x is 0. So the absolute value of 4 plus the absolute value of -2 minus 5. So that's 4 plus 2 minus 5. That's 6 minus 5. That's going to be a 1. So you are going to have a y-intercept at 1. It's not this one. It's not this one. And it's not this one, which means it has to be letter C. Isn't that easy? Really helps and saves time. When in doubt, graph it out, right? So by looking at your y-intercept, you are able to save yourself a ton of time on that problem. Okay, do we all understand what I just did there? The y-intercept is when x is 0. All right, now with that being said, you're going to go ahead and put yourself on this graph from left to right, increase, decreasing, and constant. Find this x value, find that x value, and you'd be able to do those without any problems. Any questions over that, yes or no? I feel like that's the only one. Nope. Number 17. 17 is the domain. Now, we talked a ton about domain and range, okay? The very first thing I want you to do is to find f divided by g. F divided by g is going to be the square root of x plus 6 over x squared. Okay, well, that's f divided by g. Nothing cancels out. But then it's going to want your lovely little domain restrictions. Well, we have two different types of domain restrictions. The first one is going to be the numerator. X plus 6 has to be greater than or equal to 0. Why? Can I take the square root of a negative number? No, it puts me in the imaginary number system, which means x is greater than or equal to -6. The second domain restriction is the fact that it's a fraction. Can I ever divide by 0? No, so that means x squared cannot be 0, so that means x cannot be 0. Then I told you to put these on one number line. Here's -6 and here's 0. It cannot be 0. It can be -6, and greater than means I skip over the 0 and I shade the whole line. Do you remember me doing that for you? Now, how do I go ahead and show that? What is my domain? Well, it's a bracket at -6. It goes to 0. It's a parenthesis. Parenthesis at 0, and then it goes all the way to infinity. That is going to be your domain. Do we understand that, yes or no? Okay, same exact thing, except for this time it's going to be taking and doing g divided by f. So that's going to be the x squared over the square root of x plus 6. Now I have no issue with the numerator. My only issue is with the denominator. And that x plus 6 can only be greater than 0 this time. It cannot be equal to 0 because you can't divide by 0. So that means x is going to be greater than -6. So you have a parenthesis -6 to infinity. Do we understand that problem, yes or no? Number 18 is exactly the same way. When in doubt, graph it out. Number 19. F of g at -6, and then g of f at -6. Okay, the easiest thing that I can tell you to do. If you're doing f of g, notice how I got rid of the little all and replaced it with parentheses. Yes? Plug in -6 into g. So that's going to be -6 squared, which is going to be 36 plus 2, which is 38. Then you're going to take that 38 and put it into f. Yes? So f at 38 is going to be -2 times 38 minus 1. So 38 and 38 is going to be what? 76. Negative minus 1 gives you -77. That is your answer. Yes or no? Did we get that? No? Yes? Okay. I thought you shook your head no. I was worried for a minute. Any questions over that? Now, whenever you go to do the other one, you're going to go backwards. So you're going to do this. So you're going to do f at -6 first, which is going to be the -2 times -6 minus 1, which gives you a 12 minus 1, which is an 11. And then you're going to take that and plug it into g. And that's going to be 11 squared plus 2, which is 121, plus 2, which is 123. Do we understand number 19? Number 20 is done this very similar way, except for you're plugging a function into a function. It's asking for the domain. This one is a lot more involved. Okay? So if I want to do number 20 here, and I want to do the composition of them, and I want to do f at g of x, that means I'm going to do f at my g function, which is 1 over x. Yes? So every place I see an x in my f function, I'm going to plug in 1 over x there. So that means I'm going to have 5 over 1 minus 7 times 1 over x. Yes or no? Do we see that? When in doubt, graph it out, and then you can do the rest of it. Next. Number 21, a school district purchases a copy for $25,000. After 10 years, the equipment will be replaced. The copier's worth is expected to $2,000 at the time. The linear equation represents the situation where W is the worth of the copier and T is the time the copier has been used. Interpret the slope and the y-intercept. Well, this is a very easy concept. We did this many, many times. We said slope is the change of y over the change of x. So what does y represent in this? That's W. What's W? W is going to be, where W is the worth, so that's the change of the worth of the copier over the change of the time for how long you've had it. Do we understand that? So that's negative 2,300 over 1. So what is that going to mean? The worth of the copier loses $2,300 value. The worth of the copier increases, it can't increase. The copier's worth decreases $25,000 yearly? That doesn't make sense. The copier's worth increases? No. The copier's worth decreases? Yes, it has to be D. I don't even have to read the rest of it, do I? Do we all understand that? Okay. Same exact concept for 22. 23, write the quadratic function in the form of a parentheses x minus h quantity squared. Basically, what it wanted you to do is to complete the square. So when we did this was x squared minus 4x plus 7 is equal to 0. So take the constant term over to the other side. Yes? And then we did sidebar. Sidebar was your b value divided by 2. So that's negative 4 divided by 2, which is negative 2. Squared is going to be 4. So you are legitimately simply adding 4 to both sides. And then this is going to give you an x minus a 2 quantity squared is equal to negative 3. So x minus 2 squared plus 3 is equal to 0. So which one is that going to be? Has to be letter D. So what is my vertex? My vertex says I'm going to the right 2 and up 3. Do you remember us doing that? Right 2 is positive, up 3 is positive 3. Axis of symmetry is x equals h, so that is going to be x equals 2. Determine if there's a maximum or a minimum. Okay, well that's pretty easy. That was us doing a quick graph of this. This is at 2. 3, my a value is 1, so that means it's opening up. So do I have a max or a min? I have a minimum. And that minimum is at my y value. And what is my y value? 3. Do we understand that? This is exactly the same thing. Still vertex form. Just replace the y with 0 and do the exact same procedure. Do we all understand that? Okay, that is EOC 1. Any questions on EOC 1? Do you feel like you understand what I went over? Today is Wednesday. I just went over EOC 1. Tomorrow I'm going to do EOC 2. It's going to get progressively harder. I'm probably not going to be able to do as many problems as what I did today, tomorrow. Any questions? Be ready for me to fly through EOC 2 tomorrow to then land on EOC 3 on Friday. Monday, we are off. Students do not have school on Monday due to teacher in-service. Teachers still have it. Tuesday, wherever you want in my classroom, we will be doing EOC, the actual test. You will have Monday, Tuesday, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Hopefully, you guys will have it done in 3 days. If you do not, I will still give you Friday to do it before spring break. You will have no homework over spring break. Okay?
Spring week.
23rd. Yes. Any questions over what I just said? We good? Excellent.